Hi there! Hope you guys are doing well. This is Tim, and I'm coming back at you with a brand new video, and it's an animation analysis. And this week we're going to be analyzing this little fun sequence from Lady and the Tramp. Now this scene comes right before the very iconic dinner kiss nose sequence, but I thought, you know what, we might as well look at different parts of the sequence, this one in part, where Tramp is basically showing Lady how he eats the spaghetti. And it gets silly, and it's appealing all the way through, which is what we're going to talk about first. One of the animation principles is appeal, which is basically what makes the characters or the sequence of the story so, literally, appealing to watch. And we can definitely see by the character design, which this was basically by Milk Call and other animators, you can definitely see, again, the wonder in their eyes. They are loving this moment they are in. Other parts of appeal that are important about thinking. Now, what we can see from the sequence, if we dial it in, is that the first thing, again, also kind of using the key poses and the storyboard poses I just referenced in order to figure out why this is appealing. We first have Lady and Tramp looking at the spaghetti, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. Then they're like, oh my gosh, right? This is so great! So they're not just feeling wonder about this dish, they're feeling wonder that they're both in this moment with this dish. So then they get right down into it. They start chomping away. Then what we see here is that basically Tramp is noticing that she's having a little bit of a tricky time. Maybe she's never had spaghetti. You can also tell by the strand of spaghetti in Tramp's mouth where it has this more kind of subtle S shape to it. He feels more relaxed, versus if you look at the Lady's, it's completely straight. She has her head arched back and trying to keep her head up, but maybe not fully, just to try and stay engaged but feel like she has to pull on it. She doesn't really know what she's doing. So then it leads in this fun sequence of Tramp showing off on how to slurp spaghetti, the old-fashioned way. So then she finds it appealing and tries to do it, and boop! Finds a mistake on her own. And then obviously they shrug it off and just feel just happy about the moment. And then obviously they look over and they see the two beginning to play their music into the titular sequence. So again, that's what makes this so appealing, is that just by looking at these storyboard poses we can figure out what's going on, and that there's subtle hints in the body language and in the prop language that we can figure out what the emotion of the scene is. It works out very well. And again, the eyes, you can see them observing. There's enough time for them to figure out what's going on, and they're trying to read into each other. The scene definitely dominates and rules on appeal, especially when you get to the bigger moment later. It also rocks on timing, and timing, very much like spacing. Spacing's very important to have, and it can be very difficult to achieve, but especially in this, you have two characters, the two title characters of the movie, and they're trying to play off each other's timing. On top of it, with the later section of the scene, that you have music, so you have to try and figure out a good combination of the timing you need in order to show his level of comfort. Obviously, when you go back here, I can back this up for you. When you watch Tramp eat the spaghetti, he has a lot more relaxed feeling to it. When you watch Lady eat the spaghetti, she has a little bit more paced out form. Again, she's trying to figure it out, kind of taking multiple bites down on it. A little bit more slurp, natural into it. Kind of a little bit more time into it. It takes longer for the spaghetti to be slurped because she's trying to take her time to figure it out and make it look right. And also, speaking of things looking right, let's look at this pose right here. This is a little fun example of exaggeration. Now, if you look at this sequence, there isn't really that much exaggeration. If you want to look at it, you could say that's exaggeration. You could say that's a bit of exaggeration, but it's not really that great or that stretch. And what I mean by great, I don't mean great as far as effectiveness, I mean great as far as how big exaggeration can go. It's still there, but it's not humongous, because in a sequence like this, you don't want to aim for huge, big, and bolsterous and exaggerative. You want to keep it simple, you want to keep it subtle, but you do at times can get away with it where you do get a little bit of exaggeration just to show a little comedy in the moment, or just a little bit of flourishness. So exaggeration can still exist in a very subtle scene, but you have to use it very sparingly. Other fun examples that we can look in this are things like arcs and overlap and overshooting. So again, they're kind of self-explanatory, and what you can mostly do in any sort of characters, you can follow the nose. You follow the nose and you'll figure out where the arcs are, especially in scenes like this. You can kind of see them curve over it. With that motion right there, it wasn't so much left and right. We can back it up. If we pause it, it stays down, it goes up a little bit, then it heads back down, and it curves up into that arc. Got that arc right there. It actually goes back down a little bit right there if you look at it. And that's mostly with the chewing, but overall, you got that little subtle arc right there. And then with her, everything's a little bit more straightened. And then especially right there, we can definitely look at that. A little bit of a head shake, but watch the nose. Got that little curved arc right up there. And then it comes back down. And right here, we also got an anticipation. Goes down, bring it back up. We get a little bit of an overshoot. As he's slurping, the head's going up. It hits the top, and then we get that fast reaction up there. We get that little bit of an overshoot. You want to be careful with this because you don't want to make it look like it's hitting the ceiling. It kind of has that a little bit right there, but again, not too much. You also have overlap with the ears. Follow it as he kind of shakes his head and then starts eating. If we watch that, flaps up a bit when he kind of flicks his head. He flicks his head up first, and as it's going down, the ear is still going up at the end. And then it hangs there as he's looking down, even all the way down there, and then it finally catches up. Even during the reaction, look at that. It's like a little flap right there. And it's only on the one ear, so we get kind of this asymmetrical character design, which in a way plays into appeal again a little bit. It all goes back and forth into each other. And overall with the whole scene, the timing and that all kind of goes, it stays at that level pretty much. And then if we go later into the scene, especially when it plays the music, it kind of keeps this little motif, a little chewing, simple small arcs playing, and then of course we get to the big moment. And this also is a little bit of an exaggeration right there. But again, this is your big moment. You want this to be big. And this is the most appealing thing in the world. And I can back this up for you again. There we go. And this is also a little bit of an acting note right here. It also goes into a bit of a staging, similar to the last sequence, and kind of similar to what we talked about with Beauty and the Beast, where she was holding the reins of the horse, and you have this connection. You have the two characters connected. You can see the ears, you can see the mouth shapes, the neck, the shoulders, the arms, the hair, this connection. And then even when they're coming closer, their head's still turned away. She has this kind of wonderment where she's watching the band around her play. He's kind of having this more objective where he's paying attention to what he's doing, but he's kind of in the moment. And then we get that shock moment. And this completely reads appeal. This is why I love the sequence so much, is that it just has so much wonder and appeal into it. And the music's fantastic, the staging is fantastic, and the animation, although subtle, is extremely effective. And you get dived and sucked into the moment of why the scene's so appealing, and you completely believe what the characters are going through. Again, so mostly the scene goes into timing and appeal, but you can see how effective they are, even though at times they kind of seem more like the fundamental principles, like timing and spacing. That's kind of at the start what you think about. And then appeal, obviously, you want to make sure you have appealing characters, but sometimes appeal can be put on the back burner, but it can make or break a scene. So, again, those are some kind of basic overviews of some of the principles and scenes like this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe if you want more content, or better content, as I always say. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!